Welcome to the Single Mom Life, powered by the Single Mom Network. The Single Mom Life is an organization that is here to help empower women who are struggling with everyday challenges. And our goal is to bring those resources, real solutions to your real problems. We want to connect single moms all over the world to the resources they need by tuning in to this feed. My name is TJ Alvarado, and I'm one of your hosts.
I'm Jill Douglas.
And I am Stephanie Tiller. So today's show, everyone wants to know about the host. When we look at a show, you want to know, who are they? What makes that person credible? What makes that person, equipped to tell me anything, especially, on these kind of topics and with this kind of platform, Single Mom Life. So today we're going to learn a little bit more about one of our co-hosts, one of my co-hosts and one of your hosts, TJ Alvarado. So TJ, take it away and tell them a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, I am TJ Alvarado, and I'm the owner of Blaze Fit Wellness. Blaze Fit Wellness is a health and wellness company where we help aspiring women in leadership to live a higher quality of life. And we do this by providing wellness workshops, medical massage, and speaking engagements. This is the root of my passion, a Blaze Fit life, meaning, are you fit for the fires of life? Are you Blaze Fit? Love that.
That is so awesome.
Coming out of the gate. So
I didn't know that background to your title, and I love that name.
That's it.
All right, let's keep the fire going. Where did the fire start from? Where are you from? First things first.
All right, well, shout out to my peeps.
We're both born in Detroit.
Born and raised in Detroit, Henry Ford Hospital. I grew up on South End Schoolcraft. I'm a graduate of Cass Technical High School in downtown Detroit. I was made in the Philippine Islands. My parents are Filipino. I am first generation Filipino American. And just that being said, I say God has a great sense of humor, because what you see with me, folks, is not what you get. I have the pleasure of being raised in a multilingual home. However, English is my first language. And being born and raised in the D, those of you from Detroit know what I mean. When people say they're from Detroit, there's this instant connection, because there are some real hardships, some real trials and struggles that you go through. And we won't get into it here, but those viewers, drop me a comment, send me a hi.
See, I have a question about the D as far as like being downtown. I would assume that downtown is much like Atlanta, downtown is much like Chattanooga, but in my case, most downtowns are like, we're gonna say this. What's the demographic?
Oh, it's predominantly Black American.
Okay.
It's minorities, and that's who that's that. And so my perspective,
right,
that's where I relate to.
Okay, so what challenges do you face?
Yes.
As being a minority, being in business, and coming from downtown Detroit?
There's a lot. Okay, so let me clarify. I went to school in downtown Detroit. I grew up off of South End Schoolcraft, which is north side.
Okay.
I lived on the deep east side. I was over there off Perkle. I was over there off East 7 Mile. I was over there off Alter Road. Yes, this is the hood. Finkel, we know what that is right now. My house, when I went to go visit it a few years back, is completely gone. It's burnt down. There's a crack house to the right, to the left, and the expressway is right in front of where I live. Now, it wasn't like that when I grew up at the time, but for the challenges, as you said, so imagine looking like this and people are saying you're Asian. First of all, I'm an islander because the Philippine Islands are off the Pacific Islands, and I do have a mixed heritage that includes, Spanish and Hawaiian of the Polynesian Islands. But born and raised in Detroit, which really is Detroit, meaning from the river by the water. So Detroit is kind of like an island, but we know it looks like a thumb. Okay, so you have that. You got that. And when I went to school back then, Cass Tech is not the new Cass Technical High School that it is. It was the 7 floors, the old, historic, spooky-looking building. And there was nobody that looked like me. You were either black or white. So I used to make a checkbox when I was at Edison Elementary School. And I made a checkbox and I said brown, because there was nobody else that looked like me. And within my own family and in my own culture growing up, because my mom chose to not teach us the language, myself and my brother, because she felt it would interfere with the way we speak English. So now when we got together for the Filipino American Association banquets, in which my father, Juanito P. Alvarado Sr., was one of the founding fathers of the first Filipino Federation of Michigan. When we get together there, it was like oil and water, because all the other Filipino kids went to private schools, but I feel my brother and I had the real education, right? We went to public school, and we didn't speak the language. So my brother was younger, he meshed well with everybody and went, and I was like, whatever. I don't need to talk to y'all, you don't want to talk to me. Wow. So there was that disparity as well. Growing up, now here in Atlanta, and even being a single mom, being a minority, being in this shell, if you will, and I'm feeling like I bleed red, white, and blue for what it's worth. I am an American. I was born here on American soil. I know nothing. I know nothing personally about immigration, green card. I don't know anything about that, because I have a birth certificate that says I was born in Detroit, made in Detroit. That's it.
So could you share one of your experiences from your years of living in Detroit to Atlanta, and how it could possibly help somebody else? What is the typical day life of TJ in Atlanta now versus Detroit?
In Atlanta now versus Detroit then? Woo. Well, in Atlanta now, Atlanta is extremely diverse, especially Gwinnett County, where I reside. There's no place in the world like Gwinnett County, not even Detroit. Love to my city, but Detroit just does not have the diversity like you do here in Atlanta. You have authentic Korean food. You have authentic, Caribbean food. You have Chinese food. There's even a Filipino restaurant out here. There's French. There's Italian, real authentic stuff. And the culture itself is immersed. So there's more opportunity. However, keep in mind, I'm still a minority. And that just means that what I've learned since I was in Detroit, the parallel is I do have to work harder. I do have to show up and show out. I do have to fight for that position. When I was in college here in DeVry University, my name, I changed it down to initials, which is just TJ, because for what it's worth, when somebody looked at my resume, I graduated from DeVry Institute of Technology right before it became DeVry University in Alpharetta. And when I wanted people to look at my resume, I didn't want to be discriminated against as a woman and a minority, because my last name is Alvarado. So I put it down to TJ. Now, TJ people think is what? Probably a man. But then when they see it's me, they're like, oh, because you're going by my credentials and you're seeing that I got everything it takes. But then you're out there looking for a man in a suit and tie, and here this young lady shows up and says, hey, how you doing? I am TJ. And so that itself helped, open some doors, but it wasn't without some resistance at first. And it just taught me, back to a scenario when I was in Detroit, that sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to get where you want to be. Mm-hmm. I'll reference that to this instant when I was in Detroit. I had to get from the east side back to where I lived in downtown Detroit in Hyde Park. I knew I had no money, no cash. It was like 2 a.m. We won't get into why I was on the east side at that time of morning, but I had to get back. So I got into a cab, my little self, and it was not, the most scrupulous person driving a cab at that time of night. You might as well say it was like Little Red Riding Hood catching a ride with the wolf. And he had a wolf pack waiting for me. And he said, oh, so where are you going to? I said, look, man, I'm just trying to get back home. Well, where's that? So I'm about to give you the address. Now, we didn't have Uber and the phones and all that stuff. You just jumping in a cab. And he was like, well, you looking really nice there, sister. And I was like, yeah, okay, it's cool. Just take me where I need to go. So then I knew, I was like, if I don't do something, I'm about to get jumped and raped. Right. So I said, check it out. I need to stop at the ATM over here, and I'll give you cash. I said, dang, I ain't got no cash on me. So when you're in Detroit, you're a hustler, because you got to survive the streets. And he pulled up to the ATM, and he looked at it, and he's like, all right, there you go. Don't you try to run. I said, man, come on, I'm not going to run. Really? It's right there. What am I going to do? God, come on. I'm tired. And I got out the car, and I took off. Let me tell you what, this chick can jump bricks. I mean, a high brick concrete wall. I went to the left, I went to the right, I jumped over. I was just like gone, because guess what? A rabbit running for its life will run faster than any cheetah chasing that rabbit. Facts, man. So that is just saying to say, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get where you want to be. You know, you get up in the morning and you breathe, and sometimes, you know, single mom, you be like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this? But guess what? A hungry stomach is a motivator. Your kid's crying because they don't have money for lunch, and your youngest needs diapers, and you up here knowing that you deserve the best, and the man who's supposed to love you and take care of you stepped out on you, is laying up with somebody else. You're going to just sit there and lay on your back, or you're going to let all those things come into your being? And you're a mom, you give life, you tap into that inner savage, and you got to say, you know what, I'm going to do what I got to do for me and mine to get where I'm going to be. You have greatness in you. And if I could do it with not one, not two, not three, but four kids, you can do it. And you could do it.
So, question, because what it sounds like to me, you have the strength, the tenacity, the bravery, you know, you have survivorship, fire, and everything. What is it in life? What made TJ say, you know what, this is the person that I'm going to be? Like, what was that defining moment? And when I say that, I'm leaving it open because I don't want you to have to feel like, you know, I want it to say, you to say something like a degree, or, you know, I don't want you to be unauthentic with it. Whether it was, you know, an abusive relationship, or whether it was, you know, that instance there where you knew, if I don't save me, who's going to save me? No one. So I'm more so deriving this and trying to put it all into one question, that, you know, we want to know more about TJ. Where did TJ come from in Detroit? What happened in TJ's life that shaped TJ to be who TJ is today?
Honestly, I'll say love. And I'll tell you this story why. Love is who made me who I am. Love is the reason I was in bondage in a bad relationship. And love is what's got me to push forward and pursue these things. My parents met on Valentine's Day. They got married 9 days later. And then 9 months later, I was born. So I'm truly a gift and conceived from love. My mom's from Ilocos Norte and my dad's from Ilocos Sur. So shout out to all my Filipino fam out there. That's where my family is from. I was born from love. I got into a marriage because I absolutely loved. But then I learned firsthand that that was not really love, because God's love for you is not going to be abusive. It's not going to take advantage of you. It's not going to watch you cry and just, you know, make a snarl at you and tell you all these unloving things. The scripture that kept me in bondage is the same scripture that set me free. And that scripture was, whatever God has put together, let no man take apart. Let no man put asunder. And it was in my prayer closet, getting closer to my Creator, that I heard his voice loud and clear. He said, baby girl, I didn't put you together. You put you together. So it made me have to sit down and really think, how many times do we sometimes look up and we blame God, we blame source, we blame creation? Why did you put me in this place? No, sit by yourself and take a really good, deep, long look and reflect and meditate and say, did I put me here? Were these my choices? Because it's what I wanted. And so that being said, it's love, understanding the love that the supernatural being that created me makes me supernatural. And with that type of love, that's how I learned to love my kids, and I learned to love other people. That's the kind of love that allows you to forgive even your enemies, because hurt people hurt other people. I have no animosity towards anyone in my past, anybody in a past relationship, because I understand that that person loved me the best that they could with what they knew. And just because they didn't know how to love, I can't hold them responsible for loving myself the way my Creator loves me.
Come on now. Come on.
So my next question, so like I hear all this of like where you come from, and I totally get your fight, right, in your spirit. And so how have you brought that into your work in your communities and leadership roles and empowering other people, you know, who may have the same background from as you or different, but like, you know, how are you now giving back with all that? Because I think that's important to you too.
Okay, so I am a certified self-defense instructor. I used to teach up in New York for Modern Warrior. I do have a nonprofit, which is Blaze for Life, and we teach violence prevention programs within the community. I've served as the chair for our Gwinnett Family Violence Task Force in Gwinnett County, and I still partner with my alumni, which is Leadership Gwinnett. So shout out to Leadership Gwinnett. I'm also a part of our NSA, National Speakers Association, and Toastmasters Speaker Roundtable. So I try my best to use those platforms to get in the community. I am open and I welcome any request to come and speak about living healthy, what are healthy boundaries, and teaching effective self-defense. That's how I give back to the community. I love mentoring, and I've worked in different areas like that. So the community can just reach out to me, drop me a comment. I'll be happy to come out and
It's really awesome. Well, I mean, thank you so much for sharing all that. And I just want to acknowledge you for, coming from a place and different circumstances that could have turned you a lot of different ways, right? Because people come from all different circumstances. Sometimes they go one way, sometimes they go another. And you've taken that and you've really made yourself into an amazing human being, and you give back in amazing ways and empower other people. And so thank you for being who you are.
Oh,
it's pretty awesome.
I want to give a shout out to my mom, because she's the fighter that put that in me, and I love you, and my family, and my children, because without them, I would not be here. Because really, as a single mom, sometimes you just want to be like, I'm out. But then I was like, wait a minute, I got to feed this and that and this and that, and I got to go home with the groceries, so no, I can't do that today. And then here I still am.
Well, speaking of that and the platform, before we close out, one big question, and it's important. Why the single mom life? Why the Single Mom Network? Why are you here?
Because single moms rock. Because you can do this. You are not alone. Through social media, we have the means to reach all of you. And our reach can be, you can touch one, you can light one, and together, you got a light, you got a light, all of us, we become a flame. So reach out to that single mom, that neighbor next to you. That's why. Because if I can help somebody save years instead of taking all this time to get where I am, that's my goal, is to help you not be me. I'm the poster child for what not to do. So listen to us, tune in, and be healthier, happier, more successful, faster. That's why I want to be here.
Yay. See, this is why we're here. This is why we're here. I don't know who needed this segment today, but you have it. Listen, I hope that you guys are really taking in, our moments of being vulnerable and our transparency here at the Single Mom Network, because it's not easy living the single mom life, but we get up here and we open these heavy topics and we're transparent with you guys so that we can teach you and lead by example as to how to overcome obstacles in life.
So go ahead, make sure you follow us. We are on social media, Facebook, Instagram. It is at The Single Mom Life US or The Single Mom Network. And then we're also on YouTube, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube as well and post your questions, reach out to us. We're here for you, and we would love to talk about any topic that's important to you. And so thank you for following us and watching us at The Single Mom Life, brought to you by The Single Mom Network, where dreams meet opportunity.
Love you.